Russian soldiers are being handcuffed to each other, pepper sprayed, and beaten to force them to go to the front lines. A soldier says that ex-POWs and badly wounded men on crutches are being forced to fight. They're just throwing us in for meat, he says. Speaking in a video recorded in the back of a Russian army truck, a soldier from the 114th Motorized Rifle Regiment, Military Unit 24776, has recorded an appeal for help. He speaks of the violence being used against the men and shows how he is handcuffed to a comrade. People are being held against their will. They're being handcuffed and pepper sprayed. Is that normal? He asks. He says that none of the men should be there. Some are former prisoners of war. International law prohibits compelling them to re-enter hostilities against their captor, while others require medical attention. He says that he and others have been denied a medical fitness panel. The man explains that he has an injured leg caused by a shrapnel wound, while some of his fellow soldiers are using crutches. Despite this, he was handcuffed to another soldier and forcibly sent to the front. "Look at what kind of army we have in Russia," he says bitterly. Relatives of men from the same regiment have previously complained that commanders are denying men medical treatment or fitness panels and have demanded large bribes to allow soldiers to go on leave. In March 2025, a soldier named Vladimir Nikolaevich Kisly recorded a video in which he explained why he was about to be executed by commanders in the 114th Motorized Rifle Regiment. He was one of many Russian soldiers to have recorded similar pre-murder videos. He described how he had been seriously wounded with a disabling injury and spent 4 months in a psychiatric hospital with suicidal tendencies. After being released from the hospital, he was transferred from the 98th Motorized Rifle Regiment to the 114th. Kisly's new commanders prevented him attending a fitness panel. He was sent back to the front line, where he expected to be reset or murdered on his commander's orders. "They're taking me to the front line, probably, most likely, to reset me. This is my last video message. If you can help me out, I'll be grateful. They say they'll treat you there, but now they're taking you to zero. Treatment of this kind is not unusual in the Russian army." A retired Russian paratrooper testified in August 2025 that the 98th Airborne Division was sending half-dead men to the front, handcuffed to their comrades. In the temporarily occupied city of Luhansk, Kirill Grekov, appointed by Moscow as the Deputy Prosecutor General of the LPR, was found hanged. According to Ukrinform, the head of the Center for the Study of Occupation, Petro Andriushchenko, reported this on Telegram. In Luhansk, Kirill Grekov, the Deputy Prosecutor General of the so-called LPR, was found hanged. According to certain reports, Grekov was a Russian citizen and an appointee of Moscow who arrived in the region to perform key official duties on behalf of the Russian authorities, Andriushchenko wrote. According to him, Grekov had strained relations with residents and officials and had repeatedly found himself in conflict situations, which likely led to the tragic outcome. The death of the high-ranking official is currently being concealed from the public. The official bodies of the LPR are avoiding any comments on the incident, and the details of the event are not being disclosed in the region's media, noted the head of the Center for the Study of Occupation. Russians inside Pokrovsk. Where previously Russian troops infiltrated Pokrovsk only on foot, occasionally on motorcycles, today, due to the fog, Ukrainian forces observed the first Russian military pickup inside the city, removing barricades. Russian forces are still trying to encircle Pokrovsk, pushing from multiple directions, but Ukrainian units are holding firm. Heavy Russian assaults are being repelled daily, with significant enemy losses reported in men and armor as Ukraine continues to stabilize the front line. Maybe burning refineries and the gas crisis will have little effect on ordinary Russians who are used to living in a shithole, but it will be a real problem for a country where 90% of all men are alcoholics. Alcohol prices in Russia are set to rise sharply from January 1st, 2026, as the government approves higher excise taxes across the board. Vodka will go up 11.4%, beer by 10%, and wine by as much as 30%. Some shelves may empty by December as producers rush output. Analysts expect a 10% drop in sales. Trump is asked about the exports of Russian oil.
Putin, I spoke to him 2 weeks ago, and he said, on the one, he said, we've been trying to settle that war for 10 years. We weren't able to do it. You got to settle. I got some of these things settled in an hour. No help from the United Nations at all. The only thing I got from them was a blank teleprompter. Remember I went up there, Princess? Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump, I'm looking at the teleprompters.
A scandal has erupted in Germany. The extreme right AfD members of parliament are suspected of spying for Russia. Senior German officials have accused the Alternative for Deutschland party of possibly passing classified information to Russia, Der Spiegel reports. According to the newspaper, Alternative for Deutschland members systematically requested information from the government on military transportation, drone warfare, cyber defense, and critical infrastructure vulnerabilities. Government and security agencies fear that this data could be used to gather intelligence for the Kremlin. Thuringia's Interior Minister Georg Mayer stated that the AfD was abusing parliamentary law to study the country's critical infrastructure. According to him, the party is actually carrying out the Kremlin's orders. Thomas Röwekamp, chairman of the Bundestag's Defense Committee, also confirmed that the AfD systematically requests data that goes beyond normal parliamentary control. According to him, such activity may indicate an attempt to collect sensitive military information useful to foreign intelligence services. The Ministry of Defense noted that Boris Pistorius shares these suspicions, considering the AfD's requests to be coordinated attempts to identify defense weaknesses. The party was actively interested in the issues of drones, cyber defense, and power supply to the MIA data centers. According to experts, such information could help Russian hackers and Kremlin analysts. The Bundestag's coalition parties have already announced obvious ties of AfD with the Russian embassy and Chinese institutions. Jens Spahn, head of the CDU-CSU parliamentary faction, pointed out that if the MPs are really working in the interests of the enemy, it will be a case of treason. It was recently reported that a U.S. military officer passed information about the vulnerabilities of U.S. equipment to Russia. A special U.S. Air Force C-146A Wolfhound aircraft conducted a flight near the Venezuelan border. According to the OSINT account, Aviation and Naval Assets, during its flight to Colombia, the aircraft flew very close to Venezuelan territory. Its route ran along the northern coast of South America, almost touching Venezuelan airspace, before continuing toward Colombia. The aircraft has been identified as a C-146A Wolfhound, with registration number 11-3031 and serial number 3031-, a modified version of the Dornier 328 regional turboprop aircraft. The C-146A is operated by the U.S. Air Force Special Operations Command and is designed to provide discrete mobility for special operations units. The Wolfhound is used to transport operational teams and equipment to and from combat zones, including under low visibility conditions. Unlike conventional military aircraft, it features a civilian paint scheme, allowing it to blend discreetly into regular regional air traffic. Recently, reports indicated that the Trump administration had identified military targets in Venezuela that are used for drug trafficking. According to U.S. officials familiar with the matter, if the U.S. president decides to proceed with airstrikes, these targets would clearly signal to Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro that it is time for him to step down. Although Trump has not yet made a final decision on ordering strikes against ground targets, officials stated that the potential air campaign would focus on sites linked to drug cartels and the Maduro regime.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.